What's good, YouTube? It's Nas and we back with another video. Road to 400 subscribers, of course. In today's video, I was just thinking about Ja Morant, and obviously the Grizzlies were just the 8th seed last season and they lost Desmond Bane, so we're just going to talk about how much better can Ja Morant get this season, or going along the lines of the future, basically. And Ja really started off slow this season, like we expected, or I can say I expected all-star Ja off the jump, because this would be his fully healthy season. Coming off the suspension, I thought, oh my God, we gonna see Ja Morant back, the real Ja Morant. But obviously, Ja Morant started off slow. Like, he looked like he was a passer basically out there. Like, he was letting Bane and Jaren do all the work, and that's the reason Jaren Jackson Jr. was an all-star this season. I feel like, in my mind, in my head, before the playoffs, because obviously the playoffs, Ja took over his best player on the team mantle, but during the regular season, I felt like Jaren Jackson Jr. was the best player on the Grizzlies, and I don't think that anybody could be debating me on that during the season. But obviously in the playoffs, we know that Jaren didn't show up, Bane didn't show up, so we see what obviously happened with the Memphis Grizzlies getting swept as soon as Ja Morant goes down with injury. And I think next season we see a better Ja Morant, because Ja Morant is going to have to hold it down with no Jaren Jackson Jr. for the first month of the season, with him fracturing his fucking foot right after he gets a contract extension, which ultimately sucks. But Jaren is expected back. But can Ja Morant hold it down until Jaren comes back, and see what the Memphis Grizzlies are capable of in a loaded Western Conference? And I cannot say for certain that I have the Memphis Grizzlies making the playoffs next season. That's how deep the Western Conference is, and they were just an 8th seed, and I don't feel like they've gotten better. I don't think they've gotten significantly worse when trading Desmond Bane, but at the same time, I wouldn't say they made a huge jump to obviously up past one of these great teams in the Western Conference. So how does a team led by Ja Morant, no Jaren Jackson Jr. for a couple months, and no Desmond Bane at all for the season, how do they manage? And that's on the shoulders of Ja Morant. And if we can get anything close, or if we can see 2022 Ja Morant again, like, I'm gonna be like, oh shit, he still got it in. He caught a body on Wemby this season, and Ja Morant he just turned 26 years old 3 days ago when I'm recording this video. It's August 13th, so I don't know, like, Ja Morant is just supposed to be entering his prime, so maybe Ja Morant comes back better than he was last season. I don't know, but hopefully he can, because obviously, I remember when Ja Morant was getting comparisons to being one of the best point guards in the league, and now I feel like he's not even talked about in the top 5, the top 7 anymore. There's been a lot of players that up-jumped him this season, so where do we have Ja Morant on the rankings now? Obviously, he is the best player on his team now. Let's see what Jaren look like when he comes back, but I do think Ja is the engine to keep this team running. I don't think Jaren is the engine, even though Jaren is a defensive player of the year, a multi-time all-star. There's no disrespect to Jaren. I just think Ja's impact is greater, and we're going to see a better Ja Morant this season. And this is the Memphis Grizzlies roster, if y'all don't know it already. Santi Aldama, he got a contract extension. You got KCP, who was traded from the Orlando Magic for the Bane trade. KCP hasn't looked like the same three-point shooter that he was in Denver on the Magic, so the Grizzlies were going to look for KCP to be a much better shooter next to Ja Morant, because we all know Ja Morant needs spacing, and spacing is what Desmond Bane brought to that team and what he brought to that lineup. So seeing that Desmond Bane is no longer there, like, how do you reciprocate that? How do you get the spacing to be even better? How do you manage this team along the lines with a new head coach? Yes, he did coach the rest of the season. He managed to coach the playoffs too. But how do you get this basically 1.5 year? Or I can't even say 1.5 year. 1.25 coach ready to coach a team that really doesn't have the roster to really compete in a loaded Western Conference. But with that being said, like, how do you? I don't know. Like, let's just keep going with the list of names. You got Cedric Howard, a rookie forward coming out of the draft. You got Brandon Clark. You got Zach Edey, who's going to miss the first month of the season with his injury too, which this offseason was going to look to be a huge offseason for Zach Edey, because I think Zach Edey was horrible last season. I don't give a fuck if he made any all-rookie teams. I watched the basketball game where he played in the playoffs and some of the games during the regular season. He looked like he was a bitch down there, and he is 7'4". Then I'm not joking. I'm like, what the fuck, Zach Edey? You got to be better. Like, what the fuck are you doing? But I don't know. It's just some shit. Looking at it, like, why aren't you playing like your position? Why aren't you backing them down? How aren't you getting rebounds off of them? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me when we're talking about basketball. When I mention Zach Edey. But anyway, let's just keep going. You got PJ Hall, you got G.G. Jackson, you got Jaren Jackson Jr. Obviously, you got Ty Jerome, who's coming from Cleveland, who was a 6th Man of the Year candidate. So you can say that is huge. That's a great pickup for them coming off the bench. But do they still have Scottie Pippen Jr.? Are you going to start Scottie Pippen Jr. now? Are you going to start KCP? Like, what do? You got John Conchar, who is a good player. I feel like Jock Landale, Jamal Mashak, I think that's how you say the shit. Ja Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., like I said. Javon Smith, Cam Spencer, who came off the bench and gave you some good. Cam Spencer, wasn't he on the Warriors? I'm bugging. Yeah, you're right. Fuck, I'm trying to find it. Damn, I can't find it. Damn, what was the last team he played on? Yeah, he was on Memphis. Damn, I'm mixing him up with somebody on the Warriors. Damn, my fault. I thought that was the same nigga I saw come in the game with the Warriors. But you got Jalen Wells, their rookie or their second-year player, one of the best defenders in the league, coming into the league. He's another player that has to start for this team. Like, I won't say that Ja doesn't have talent around him. I won't go to along the lines of saying that. But with that being said, like, in this Western Conference, like I said, you can't pencil them in to make the playoffs like you can with some teams. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Hold on, I'm trying to get the NBA standings up, because I don't know. Like, do y'all have the Grizzlies making the playoffs next season? I don't know, because obviously, all right, let's just get started. You got the Thunder, you got the Rockets, you got the Lakers, you got the Nuggets, you got the Clippers. That's when yeah, there's only 8 spots. So where do you go next? Do you go with the Timberwolves, who just made the conference finals, and Anthony Edwards, who's going to come back even better? We haven't heard a peep out of what the hell is going on with Anthony Edwards this offseason. So do you got the Warriors? Are you gonna count out Steph Curry and them boys? Like, what are we doing? You got the Mavs, who's going to look a hungry AD. I just made a video about AD on the other day. I said AD is in for a monster season, and I ultimately believe that. And with Kyrie Irving coming back, I don't see the Mavs missing the playoffs. Do you have? I'm not gonna say the Suns. I'm just not gonna do that. You got the Spurs, who I feel like is going to look better, and I think the Wemby could potentially make his first playoff appearance. So I don't know, like. It's just interesting to see. Like, yes, there's an opening. I do think they potentially make the play-in, but this is all on the lines of Ja Morant. Are we still calling him a superstar? I don't know, but I'm gonna just call him that. I'm gonna call him that for the sake of this video. But Ja ended up averaging, I don't know if I told y'all, but he averaged 23 points, 4 rebounds, and 7.5 assists this season. 23-24 when he played 9 games, the suspension year. He played 25. He averaged 25 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 8 assists. And the 22-23 season, he averaged 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. 21-22, he averaged 27.5 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. I just think Ja has to get back to that old Ja Morant. We got to see Ja tap into that bag. Like, when he was with that track, he was pointing. Y'all know the Ja Morant story. I shouldn't have to remind y'all. But let me know, where do y'all think that the Grizzlies finish off this season? Do y'all think they make the playoffs? And do y'all think Ja cements himself as one of the best point guards in the league again? Let me know down below. Subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. What's good, y'all? If y'all made it to the end of the video, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And the channel icon's right here on the right, and there's a video on the left. Click one of them holes if you didn't watch it already, and subscribe. Help the channel grow, and I appreciate you.